The men who kicked down my back door. This is going to be long. Apologies if it doesn't make much sense. I have panic attacks when I think about it and struggle to put it all together. This happened back in 2021. I had just moved from Melbourne to rural Australia to live with my fiancée, then boyfriend, who was on a military posting at the army base and escaped Melbourne's insane COVID lockdowns. The town I moved to is pretty isolated, about 4 to 5 hours to reach any large city in each direction, but it was big enough, with a few different suburbs surrounding the main area. Neither of us knew the area before moving, and this led him to get a house in a pretty sketchy part of town. I will try and explain the setup of the house, as this will be important later. The house was old, with huge glass windows everywhere, including the entirety of the front of the house. Because of this, you could see into the kitchen, living room, and one of the unused bedrooms without coming down the driveway. There was an old metal fence to the left of the house, which was about 1.5 meters tall, that went directly into the backyard, and to the right of the house was a small path, hidden by overgrown bush and plants from the front, with a locked gate the height of the house that lead to the back semi-enclosed patio and back door. The path was right next to the kitchen window, but it was a window that you couldn't see out of when the kitchen light was on, but you could see in. When coming in through the back door from the patio, you would walk through the laundry with an adjacent bathroom into the kitchen, with our bedroom off to the left and a second bedroom directly next to ours. Our bed was on the wall that connected to the living room, which meant it looked right out to the backyard, as it also had huge glass windows. My boyfriend was outfield for a week, so I had been home alone. It was summer during this time, and it was hot. The house had terrible AC, so I had been sleeping with the windows open and had even left the back door wide open on accident when falling asleep a couple of times. I've always felt safe in Australia and have lived mostly alone since I was 18, so I didn't have an issue with it. It comes to Friday, and I decided to walk into town for something to do. The walk took about an hour each way, and when I finally got home, I was looking forward to doing nothing besides getting out of the heat. I spent most of the afternoon evening in the living room playing PlayStation and watching TV. I had heard a few noises down the side of the house on the path next to the kitchen and leading to the patio that night, but the guy who lived next to us had a workshop of some kind, so I assumed it was him tinkering around. I am one of those people who will lay in bed before they are ready to go to sleep, so I go to lay in bed around 10 p.m. and I was doing my nightly scroll of Let's Not Meet. This saved me, as it prompted me to get up out of bed and go close and lock the back door. The back door had a normal lock, and then a reinforced deadlock with a key screwed into the wall. 45 or so minutes later, still hearing the neighbor tinkering around occasionally, I decide I'm ready to actually go to bed, so I go and start turning off all the lights, including the back patio light and kitchen light. I lay down in bed and am finishing up my mindless scrolling, and I hear some noise again, but this time it was a bit louder. I figured it was the guy still in his workshop or some kind of animal, so I decide to put down my phone and go to sleep. After a couple of minutes, I hear a bang at the back door, and I instantly felt like everything went into slow motion. I instinctively knew someone was kicking the back door in, and I thought, this cannot be happening. Then came another bang, and another. It was so loud, and I felt like the house was shaking. I hear glass shattering, and the banging just continuing. This felt like it went on for an eternity, but it was a few minutes. In my panic, after the second or third bang, thinking I could scare them off by pretending a man was here, I yelled out "Wathieth" in the deepest voice I could. Slammed my bedroom door closed, locked it, and I called 000 and then pushed my bed against door. The banging is still going on when I start to call to the police, and then it stops. There was nowhere to hide, so I was crouched down in the corner of the room near the bed. While on the phone to the 000, I can hear someone start kicking the bedroom door. I'm screaming at this point. I don't remember what I was saying to 000 or what they were saying to me, but I remember praying the police arrived before they got inside the room. I hear sirens, the banging on the bedroom door stopped, and then I see torches shining into the bedroom window. Because I was so scared I couldn't understand what the 000 operator was saying to me. So I had no idea if the torchlight was whoever just kicked in my back door and bedroom door, or if it was the police. I don't remember how I realized, but it was the police, and the next thing I remember, I am in the kitchen surrounded by about 10 police officers, crying, trying to explain what had happened. I was so inconsolable that the police had to use my boyfriend's army photos on the fridge to get his details to call the duty officer to get him to come home. Once I calmed down a bit and my boyfriend got home, I saw the back gate to the patio was broken, the bedroom door was cracked, the back door had been kicked off its hinges, with the deadlock completely ripped out from the wall and the laundry window smashed. There were 2 sets of clear footprints on the door from where they had kicked the door in. I had checked my phone. I called 000 at 12:04 a.m. and had been on the phone for less than 5 minutes. What I think happened is they followed me back from my walk, could easily see from the road I was alone, and were watching me on the path next to the kitchen for the evening. The noises I thought the neighbor was making was them, and once I turned the lights off, they made their move. I don't think they anticipated the back door to be so hard to break down, which is why they smashed the laundry window to unlock it, but couldn't unlock it without the key, so they went back to kicking. But it saved me from whatever they were going to do. They weren't ever caught, and we ended up moving house within the next few weeks. My boyfriend and I ended up breaking up as he was regularly outfield or on duty at night, and I couldn't be home alone at night anymore and would panic, cry and not sleep until the sun would come up, and it put too much strain on the relationship. It wasn't until later that I realized I was experiencing PTSD. I now live back in my home city, in an apartment building that has 24/7 security and a billion cameras, and I have 2 dogs. So to the guys who kicked in my back door and attempted to get into my room, I have no idea what you were going to do to me, but let's not meet. Creepy guy at my door. Not sure if my story belongs here, but I've always been creeped out by it. I, a female, was 25 at the time. This was 2018 and I lived with my boyfriend in our hometown. It's a small city that's relatively poor and has some drug problems as there's not much to do. My boyfriend, now husband, was at his friend's house. It was a Saturday night and he said he'd be home around 9. He was about 2 towns over, a 20-minute drive. At the time, we lived in a duplex, split upstairs and downstairs. It used to be a big house, converted into a duplex. My cousin actually rented the downstairs apartment and she was kind of loud. I knew when she was and wasn't home. She wasn't home this night. The way our street was situated, the backs of the houses on my street and the parallel street all faced a narrow alley and the driveways were only accessible this way. The downstairs unit had a front porch with a door and a side door. Our upstairs unit had the back door and it was at the top of an outside set of wooden stairs. So anyway, I'm home watching TV alone. I hear someone coming up the stairs and knock on the door. It's 8:30. It wouldn't be that unusual for my boyfriend to be home early. Maybe they got bored playing video games, or he just felt like leaving. I usually would unlock the door for him when he came home instead of him using his keys because it was dark and could be a hassle. So I got up and opened the door to someone who was not my boyfriend. It was a pretty thin man, wearing 2 big jeans and hoodie. He had about 4 teeth and was teetering back and forth. I was so shocked considering I was positive it was my boyfriend coming home. The guy at the door asks me, "Can I use your phone?" Behind him, down the stairs and in the alley, I see a big SUV, Ford Explorer type of vehicle just idling, with someone in the driver's seat. I panic and just say, "Yeah, hold on." I then shut and lock the door. I think I was more shocked that it was a stranger at my door and not my boyfriend than anything else. I hide so he cannot see me through the front door's window and am frozen. Something was just telling me this was not okay. After a few minutes, I hear him start walking down the stairs. I go over to the door and see the car drive away down the alley. I call my boyfriend and tell him, and he says he'll leave, but like I said, it was a 20-minute drive. He was about to leave anyway. After he got home, I calmed down and honestly felt silly. Why not just lend him my phone? Was it really that weird? But then I thought about it more over the next few days. It was 2018. This guy and whoever was driving, between the 2 of them, neither one had a phone. And it wasn't like they were having car trouble. What would they want a stranger's phone for? They also went down an alley and to the back side of a house, up some stairs, to ask for a phone. They didn't go to my cousin's front door downstairs. I would have heard someone on the porch. They did not go to any other house. I saw them leave the street entirely. Also, why go to a house to ask for a phone when there was no car in the driveway? And of course, our battery-powered security camera was dead at the time. I genuinely am not sure what they wanted. If anyone has any idea or thinks I'm overthinking it, let me know. But, creepy guy at my door, let's not meet again.